Biraj, do you suggest we start or we
I think
wait?
we can start. I think we
We
can
can
start.
start.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sitlob's webinar on opportunities for LSP in travel industry. My name is Sudeen. I'm Vice President of Sitlob. I'm also President of Crystal Hughes, a complete life cycle company that creates and localizes content in any language and delivers across any technology. Communication in multiple language is key to making customers feel welcome, and especially so in travel and hospitality industry. To share his thoughts and experiences on the subject, we have with us Mr. Neeraj Mathur, Executive Director of Perfect Media and founder of Travel Translation. The session will be moderated by Mr. Biraj Rath, CEO of Brahmam International and also founder member of Sitlaw. Before we begin the session, I would like to give a brief introduction on our guest. Neeraj is an entrepreneur with over 20 years spent in editorial and content creation in global travel and tourism industry. He spearheaded a number of travel trade publications in European and Asian markets. Passionate about travel and tourism, he believes that when tourists cross borders, army vanishes. He's a recipient of Best Media Award for Corporate Travel Sector. Over to you, Biraj.
Thank you, Sudhinji. Very warm welcome to you as well as Mr. Mathur here. We're very fortunate to have somebody from the travel industry who has really extensive experience in this industry, and I know him for almost, I would say, more than 20 years now. So
Wow.
I know him, how he works. In fact, we have traveled together also. So I learned this industry, a lot of this details about this industry from him. So he's somebody that I really look up to. He has got great ideas, and so it will be really great to welcome him here today. And as we start this conversation, I would like to just first take a minute for everybody to just give me an overview, and then we will start off. So the way we are going to conduct this particular webinar is much more interactive, and I have a lot of questions in my mind which I keenly think will also be useful for our members here. More so from the point of view of as I see the content that is generated in the travel industry. It's still in India in a very nascent stages when it comes to promoting domestic travel as well as attracting international customers into or travelers into India. When I look at the Western countries, they are far more ahead of us, even in terms of thinking and implementing, making it more convenient for international travelers. So in India, we are just blessed to have so many languages, right? So it's just natural for us to think about people who naturally may not be having English or Hindi as their natural language, right? And still people could travel across borders from one state to the other. And we being 1.4 billion people, it's just simply an amazing market, especially a consumer market, because everybody is a consumer of the travel industry in one way or the other. So with that, I would like to kick off this session. And Sudhinji, I think, are we encouraging questions from our members as well towards the end? Do we keep some time?
Yes, I would request if the members can ask their questions in the chat, and then I could take it up at the end of the session. Otherwise, we'll have too many people speaking at the same time. If you could just use a chat facility in this application, and please put your question in the chat and I will take it up one by one.
Yeah. So Dinji, I
Thank
will
you.
leave you to arrange the questions and ask from the members while I take up my own journey with Mr. Mathur. So
With
Mr.
pleasure.
Mathur, welcome, and it's really great to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Viraj. Thank you, Sudhinji, and thanks, Sitlo, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on travel industry. Well, as Biraj said, that we all travel and we travel touches us everyone. And more so, we have realized the importance of travel during these days, especially when we are not able to move out. And now we know that travel is freedom. So, it is more important that we realize and take the industry more seriously because,
We
otherwise
all
the industry
realize what
has
we are
been,
losing out in the last 2 years.
oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, it has been a great loss. Obviously, the personal losses are there, but not able to move out of the house and not able to travel is something which is taking us, there's a mental block which is taking us. So anyway, I'll just take you a brief journey before we start off with the question answer session about the global travel industry. Obviously, it is a very, very evolved industry which has got about, contributes 9.25 trillion. It's a massive, massive amount of contribution to the industry, global economy. And then we have so many people traveling, and the figure here is 1.46 billion is of the international tourist. So we are not talking about domestic tourism at all at present, but we are talking about international trips which takes place across, and this is a yearly figure. And obviously, it is the largest employer. By the way, travel comes within 10 industries. It ranks in 10 among the top 10 industries in the world, but it is the largest by the employment, which is a great contribution in terms of giving employments to the manpower. And obviously, it contributes about 10.4% GDP in the world economy. So we all know that travel is a great contributor to almost everybody's daily life. And so we travel both for business as well as we travel for leisure. So these are some of the figures which are mind-boggling in terms of global travel and tourism industry. And when we come to the travel industry, it is important to see how the travel industry is sold. So the travel industry is by and large sold on content, which interests us as a content writer as well as the translation service providers. It interests us that content is what actually sells travel. So we see that there are a lot of destination. So destination is static. It doesn't move. What move is the content and the travelers in and around the destination. So when we are talking about a static or a fixed destination, for example, if you take Taj Mahal is fixed. It doesn't move. But the content around Taj Mahal, it has been tons and tons of articles have been written on Taj Mahal as a destination or as a monument. So what is dynamic is the content, and it changes every year. Taj Mahal doesn't change, but what changes is the content around Taj Mahal. Every year, every day, new articles, new news, and although it comes out. And so what is dynamic is the tourist which moves around the destination, and the content which brings tourists to the destination. And obviously, language which interests us is there are two separate set of languages where there's a language for the host and there are languages for the guest. And guest, obviously, it is around comes from various countries. So there is a lot of combinations of language pairs here which comes into play, because host language to the guest language, and there are more than 50 countries or guests are coming from. So there's a huge amount of content which is being localized. I'm talking about at present about the global scenario. I'm not talking about India. I'm talking about the global scenario. And so if you look at the global giants who are contributing to the travel industry in terms of making the travel convenient, are these some of the portals we just listed down, how they are generating content and the volume of content which is there with them. So if you look at bookings.com, which is one of the largest and the biggest booking site, it has got 28 million listings. Listings we are talking about, by and large, the hotel listing, accommodation listing of all types. And they are in 43 languages. Unfortunately, none of the language is in Indian. Then we have Airbnb, which has become very active. Obviously, it is already active worldwide, but now in India, they have become very active. And so they have 7 million listing, which is in 31 languages, including Hindi. So this is the only international company which has taken actually India as a very serious market, which is good for us, which is good for the industry as a whole, because they will set the trend in. And again, hotels.com, which has got 3.5 million listings, 34 languages, none of the Indian languages are there. TripAdvisor is one of the largest content generating hotel in travel industry. So obviously they've got 88 million locations, but what is important is the reviews that is getting generated, which is a user generated content. And that user generated content gets translated in 28 languages. So we can imagine the amount of volume which is there in the land, which is there for the language industry. So much of translation is taking place, whether it is automated, whether it is machine translation, or it is human translation, but it is taking place. And this is important, that when we are talking about the languages, TripAdvisor is setting the trend, because it is not only generating its own content, it is also localizing the user content. So which is more important. Now I'll just brief you about the Indian market. Indian market is Viraj, you have 5 minutes for the Indian market. I have not put a slide, but I'll just brief you about Indian market. Indian market is it's a very big market. We have got about 90 million employment directly and indirectly attached to the travel industry, which is a major contributor in terms of percentage of employment in travel industry. Is roughly about 10% of the total employment that India employs, which is a good contributor in terms of the percentage. Second is that when we're talking about international tourists which are coming to India, we are minuscule as compared to the other evolved or developed markets in terms of the foreign tourist arrival, which we call it FTAs. Now, FTAs in India here is somewhere around 7 to 8 million. And that we have taken that growth in last 2-3 years. Before that, it was less than 5 million. But if you actually, so these are the real tourists which are coming. But if you actually see the foreign tourist arrival, it is about 22 million, out of which the major share is from Bangladesh. So we don't consider them as real tourists. So we discount them. So Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all these, they come in government figures. But as an industry, we count them out because they are not really tourists. And then we also discount NRIs who are visiting family and friends, because they are not major spenders in terms of tourist going to tourist destinations. Some of them do, but so for us as a country, foreign tourist arrival is in the range of about 7 million, which is so we have a huge market which is open for us in terms of growth. But what is very encouraging is the domestic tourism. So domestic tourism is massive in India, and we all know that. We all travel, and we have been staying. Let's say 10 years back, we were all staying with our relatives, but now when we are going on holiday, now at present nobody. Not many families stay with their relative, they stay in a hotel. So they can really count as tourists. So which is about 2.2 billion trips are made in the entire year within the domestic market. So domestic market is huge, and the potential. I think we'll just talk about the potential about the for the localization travel, the translation industry in the Indian context. So Biraj, this was a very brief about the global scenario and where we stand in terms of the Indian travel industry.
This is really
So
interesting, especially in terms of the employment generation. That was like an eye opener, because it's like, just imagine for these last 2 years, all these people who are out of their jobs, the impact on them would be like
oh
huge to
yes,
start with.
oh
That's
yes, oh
that's there.
yes, oh that's there.
The
Yes,
interesting thing that I would like to bring to picture is, if I recall it correctly, some 2 to 3 years back, I had read some figure, but I don't remember it very correctly. But I think if we compare, the Indian FTA with Singapore, I think Singapore has something like 4 or 5 times FTA than India, even though it's a small country,
Singapore is about 25 to 30 million.
which is
We're talking
almost
about.
5 times, I think, four
Yes,
times.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So just
And the
imagine.
size of
Um,
Singapore is
yeah.
almost East Delhi.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, just imagine that Singapore, which is like, it's like a small island nation, right? It's like a
Oh
city,
yes,
actually, more like. And they are generating inward people for tourism. Is just amazing
it's
to
mind
just
boggling.
think.
Oh yes,
Yeah, it's just amazing to think the kind of opportunities India could potentially get into. And I think, of course, there are multiple reasons for this. Not just, I mean, we cannot obviously connect it to just us as an industry addressing it. Of course, there is one part which we can certainly play a role in, but there are a host of other things which obviously requires government support and stuff like that.
correct, correct. You're right.
And the other thing which of course, for the last 2 years I haven't traveled a lot, but what actually seems very strange to me, and this is not just in India but also in the US, is US is also a very big, like, it's like the world's, I mean, India and US are the world's biggest two democracies, so as to say, in two different ways. But what I see is, if you travel to the US, it also is very closed to countries or people who are outside of the US. I mean, if you talk to a lot of the US people, all they think is, in fact, you'll be surprised that there was a survey conducted in the US, and many people thought that the whole world is the US, actually. And that one was actually too much surprising. But even people
Correct,
who know that there is a world outside the US, they are simply don't they don't even know that apart from English there are other languages. And even from a tourism point of view, more than, if I recall the statistics correctly, I think more than 75% of people or 80% of the people in the US have never traveled outside the US. Now,
correct, correct.
that statistics is probably very true for India, but probably even more, that maybe 90% of the Indian people haven't ever traveled abroad. But what is interesting to see is, when it comes to inward, US, a lot of people come into the US. A lot of people would like to come to India. But why do we see in both these democracies the adoption for language, making it comfortable for people to be able to read and adapt, is always kind of going, I would say it's really archaic, it's really old. People don't even think about making life comfortable for visitors coming into these countries. You think there is a underlying reason for it?
See, Biraj, the answer lies the question only that because the market, domestic market is so big that most of the travel industry do not think there is a need for getting either content translated or getting into other languages, because they are so occupied with their own domestic market, that as compared to the domestic market, I'm talking about US here, as
Hmm.
compared to the domestic market, their inbound market is minuscule. So they are more focused, they are more concentrated, and they are more aggressive in their own domestic market. And most of the, as you rightly said, a lot of US citizens, a lot of people in US have never traveled out of the country, and they think that the world is US only. So having said that, uh, if you take specifically the industry, let's say Expedia. Now, Expedia is one of the biggest portal around the world. but they have the entire website translated into about 30-35 languages. So it is not that all these big giants are not looking at language as their marketing tool. Similarly, if you look at Marriott Hotels, Marriott has got about 13 languages. Of their website is translated in 13 languages, content, brochures, and it is there in 13 languages. Similarly, Radisson with Carlson Group. So they are again into approximately 7 to 8 languages. Obviously, none of them are Indian languages, but global languages is what they are covering in terms of getting the website and the content converted into various languages. So it is not that these people are not looking at language as a serious technology support, but it all depends upon where do they stand on the global front. Are they a global company? Yes, they will get into this. If they think that they are a US centric company, they will not get into languages. As simple as that. Because according to them, anybody who is in US, whether he is a German national or an Indian national or a Spanish national, knows English. That is the reason that he or she is there in the in US market. So probably that is the reason that they have not. We don't see many content localized into other languages besides the global companies. And US who have some of the best global companies, both in terms of travel as well as non-travel companies. We all know that. And but besides that, Biraj, look at the amount of investment the Google is doing in travel domain in translation into various languages, including Hindi. Hindi also they are doing, and I'm sure with other languages in Indian languages, they are doing a lot of content related to travel into English into other languages. So non-travel companies are, by the way, I think Google again is they have all the flight information, everything is there. So we can't rule out Google to be not a travel company. They are still taking share of the travel. So now when we come to India, India is a different market altogether in terms of languages. We have not realized the potential of, especially in travel sector, we have not realized the potential of what languages can do to them. But having said that, India, the tourists that we attract from outside the inbound tourism which are coming into India. So we have a lot of content which is translated into let's say German, Spanish, and other languages, Chinese and other European languages, even South American languages, Arabic languages. So India is doing when it comes in terms of attracting tourists, foreign tourists into India. So they are doing language translation into European languages and other from where the tourist is generated. But within India, except government, because it is in their guidelines that they have, there's a policy that they have to translate all the literature into 13 or 14 Indian languages. Besides that, I don't see any other industry which is translating into Indian languages, because again the perception is that we everybody knows English, so that's the perception. So we have a long way to go, but I think there is a huge growth that can be nurtured when we come to opportunity for LSPs here. So
I think,
these are the
yeah,
two different comparisons.
yeah, I think you are right. I mean, if I look at my experience in the industry, I mean, 6 to 7 years back, the situation was very different in the US. And I can tell you that long time back when I used to travel and I had to put my credit card into the ticket machine in the railway station or whatever, it would always ask for the local zip code. And if you could not put the zip code, and obviously for the Indian credit cards don't have a zip code. So if you can't put the zip code, the transaction will never get through. And that was like you are stuck, because most of the economy in the US is plastic. You don't really carry cash there. And so you are completely stuck. So I was stuck with a $20 bill and nobody was there to exchange the money, and I couldn't even buy a ticket for about half an hour. So so that's the reality of the situation. But for example, you mentioned Marriott and so many of the other groups. Now, of course, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen that change. At least one change I have seen in the US is they are certainly started accepting the Latin American Spanish being almost like an American language. So you almost by default get right now customers from the US at least asking for Latin American Spanish, and closely I have seen now they are asking for Brazilian Portuguese also. So these are the two, like number 2 and 3 languages, if I were to say so, in my personal experience, to look at. But if we look at a parallel situation in India, do you think there is any large group which is potentially looking at that situation like a Marriott, or currently you think that situation can change maybe
Yeah, Taj
after
is
the.
Taj is already Taj Group has already started doing translation,
Okay.
but not in Indian languages, but in the European languages
For inward.
and Arabic. They have already started.
Okay.
Bearing Taj, there is no other group in India who has started or taken the initiative to get their website and content translated. See, the point is that it depends upon where your market is. Uh, when we are talking about, so there are tour operators which are inbound tour operators. So inbound tour operators who are bringing tourists from outside, they get their content translated in their market. For example, if there are German charters which are coming or German groups who are coming, and the agent is dealing in German market, then they will get it translated into German language, all their content, because that's where the customer demand is. So it is all
Right.
customer demand driven, when it comes to translation. So, and they have been translating not recently. So most of the tour operators have been translating their content for the almost 20-25 years since the time they started getting international tourists. So but it is limited only to their tour itineraries and the basic content, not the website or other content. So it is only very specific, limited to itineraries or uh, special instruction for the groups, things like this. So that's it. Otherwise, by and large, they are all operating in English language.
Right. So that brings me to the point that is there something as an industry professional, a professional association that we are, and we sometimes keep discussing our agenda as an association as to how we can do something for the industry. Is there something that the government can initiate and we can, as an association, do something about it? Do you think you have any suggestions what government could do, and plus what could we as an association could do to change the situation? It won't change obviously suddenly, but if we kind of start doing certain actions, activities, maybe generate content to attract attention, things like that. I don't know, right now it may be
Yeah,
premature,
yeah.
but do you have some, I mean, one on the government side and one on the association side, do you think there are things we could do to change the situation over a period of time?
Yes, yes. See, there are a lot of bodies. What I'll suggest is there are a lot of bodies in travel industry, including TAI, which is Travel Agent Association of India. Then we have Indian Association of Tour Operators. We have domestic tour operator associations. So it will be good to start a dialogue with those associations parallelly and bring some education to their members on the benefit of localization content and how this localization content then bring more customers to their members. Everything is driven by the customer. If customer is there, for example, if there's a hotel which sees that Gujarat is a good market for them, they're already doing Gujarat, but by increasing the content in Gujarati, if they can attract more number of tourists from Gujarat, then they will start investing in Gujarati language. So it is all customer driven. So I'll suggest that Sitlop can initiate dialogues with the parallel bodies in travel industry. That will go a long way in educating the members of the travel industry to take localization more seriously. especially in context of the Indian languages. Because at the government level, government is already, they have a set policy. They have a policy that they have to translate most of the brochures and the content that government generate into 13 languages. So they already have a policy laid down for languages,
Okay.
which they are already doing their part.
Right.
But from the industry point of view, it is important that we take up with, and there are a lot of associations, because travel industry in India is there is no one umbrella body. There is one, but it is not very active. Federation is there, but individual agents and individual, even state-wise, there are a lot of travel agents bodies which are there. So if you can take with a couple of the trade associations, TIE, I can tell you, they're the largest body which has got about 25 or to 3,000 members. And ITO is there, we got 5,000 members. So like these 3 or 4 bodies, if you can pick up and initiate a dialogue and do a kind of all these education seminars or webinars that we can initiate, do jointly, then I think it will be, so over a period of 2 or 3 years, the members will become more aware, more conscious about how they can leverage language to attract more customers. So everything is customer driven. So this may be a good initiative to do.
Right. Perfect. I think that's something very interesting to look at, and I think this is for the members to also be aware that there are plenty of association, maybe at the government central level, maybe at the state level, and then
Yes,
there are
yes,
different groups. There could be based on different travel. How do I call it? Options. So there may be cycling related associations, or
correct.
bike related
Bike
associations.
related,
People
correct. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
who
yes,
do go on these excursions, and there
yes,
may be
yes.
sailor related and stuff like that. That's really interesting. So there are actually many avenues, even at, I would say, at the individual company level also, they could look at these opportunities
Yes,
to
yeah, 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 yeah.
approach.
Correct,
That's
correct,
interesting.
correct.
Now, do you think, how do you think, after, we've been locked down for almost couple of years now, and the whole world has been locked down. So do you think there is going to be, I mean, if there is a huge change, whether technically or otherwise, how do you think, let's just assume that, in another 3 months time or 6 months time, we'll be out in the open without masks, and, we can roam around freely like we used to do 2 years back. If that would be the case, let's say from January 2022, let me put it like that, how hopefully my words turn true today. How do you see the industry bouncing back, and do you see any massive changes that will happen to this industry, and do you think that is going to create an impact for us as a an industry to be able to cater to the new travel industry, so as to say?
Yeah, Biraj, you rightly said. At present, the industry is shattered, devastated. Everything, it's almost dead. But what was very surprising and to see was the window that we got between wave one and wave two. So there was a window from December to March where things
Yeah.
had opened up, and the so the industry has revived back and bounced back very, very positively during these 3 months, 4 months window. And almost occupancy was peaking around 90-95% in almost all the leisure
Wow.
destinations. So I think there are no two opinions about it, that once the things start looking up, the industry is going to bounce back, and we are going to be over occupied in terms of because everybody wants to move out, and there is something called revenge tourism which is going to take place.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity which is going to so technologically, I think there is a shift which is taking place because everybody is now online, and even the bookings and besides ticketing, even hotel booking and your travel booking and your package tour bookings, everything is now shifting online. Now, online means that the support of the travel agent or a hand holding of the travel agent or advice of the travel agent is slowly and slowly going to diminish. So most of the consumer is uh, going to the destination, taking the information from the website or the web, all research they're going to do online only. So when the research is done online, obviously the content consumption is going to grow many folds. And as the content consumption going to grow, so the importance of language comes in, because I'll buy what I understand. If I don't understand, I will not buy. It is as simple
Correct.
as that.
Correct.
So the perception of English being the universal language is slowly going to go away, because everybody of us now understand that. Besides, because so look at the vernacular newspapers which are there. Their circulation is much more than the English newspaper, and more so the industry is going to realize sooner or later that they have to generate content in localized languages. So there will be a shift in the buying pattern of the traveler. They'll be buying more online, more trustworthy websites will come, because at present you don't trust a website, you trust your travel agent partner more than the website. But then if this is going to shift, then the content will come into play, both in terms of images, because most of the travel is sold on images and content.
Right.
So I think that going forward, another 2 to 3 years, the content that is going to get generated because of the new websites or the existing websites which are there, they have no option but to go into vernacular.
I think that's a very interesting thing, which I can extend a little longer in terms of the logic, because as I see it, and you are rightly saying, when I mean, I would say 15 years back when we used to do bookings for our company, I still remember we used to use a physical travel agent to book the tickets, and the airline ticket used to be of different pages and stuff like that. And
Correct.
I remember those days, you never had a verification for who the ticket is for. Now we of course have the IDs getting checked. I remember
Correct.
traveling initially in the airline without the IDs being checked, and I was actually traveling on my brother's ticket. Wasn't my ticket. So we no longer can of course look at that. But the interesting part is that as we have moved, I would say already we have moved big time from travel agents to those booking sites. But of course in India there is still, I think, huge amount of scope for people to do the booking online. But interestingly, if you look at the major big portals like Yatra or Make My Trip or whatever, the only thing that I can see is, of course, there are some content pages on certain sites which I can see in Indian languages. Make My Trip, I think, and some of the other sites, they have the train booking in Hindi and some of the couple of other languages maybe. But largely the reading buying experience online is totally disconnected from the target audience, I would say. So if the data says that maybe 5 to 7% of Indians actually know English and read English, and even out of that, a lot of them don't have English as the first language. I, I would imagine that if more and more online booking was to happen, there is no other way for these companies rather than to enable, if they have to buy, they have to sell to the Indian market at least. And like we discussed, there are two sides. One is, of course, right now for international travel to increase, maybe it's going to take even more time looking at the COVID situation. But domestic travel, whenever it even opens up for 4 or 5 months, there will be a huge amount of domestic travel. So I
Correct.
think when this online boom happens, and more booking happens, I don't think there is really any way for a lot of these online companies to go other than enable the consumers in India to be able to buy online.
Correct. You're right, actually. See, what is important to see, Viraj, here is that you mentioned about Make My Trip and Yatra. I do remember that we had started a dialogue with Go IBBook sometimes
Okay.
back,
Hmm.
and we had done some Hindi work for them. But it was in a very nascent state, and they dropped the idea of getting into translation for the reasons, because they thought that it requires sustainable investment into it.
Correct.
So this is something which is missing at present in our Indian travel portals scenario. And maybe here where Sitlog can pitch in, and maybe, you can enter into a dialogue with all these big portals about doing a sustainable investment in language. While we see other international companies, travel portals are slowly getting into the language game, including Airbnb, because Airbnb is getting deep penetrated into the Indian market. So their objective is the same. And so even from Make My Trip and Yatra.com, they have the objective same is that they want to get into deep penetrate into Indian market. So maybe, I don't know about the individual companies, but maybe at a association level, if it can be taken up and influence them to get into, language game and showing them a bigger picture will be maybe a good idea to initiate. And once they do it, then it will trickle down
Right.
and more
Yeah,
companies
I
will
agree.
get into
I
it.
agree.
Yes.
It's
I do
just a question
remember
of somebody
even,
starting it.
yes, correct. I know, I do remember even Sarovar Hotels. Sarovar Hotels had taken initiative and did their website into Hindi language. But somewhere between the line, I think maybe a year or 2 years back, they had started they have initiated to get all their hotel website, everything into into Hindi. But again, they have, I think, sustained investment is which is what is required. So they have dropped the idea of Hindi at present. Maybe looking at the situation today now, once the
Yeah.
situation becomes better, probably they will revive it. But no other group or no other travel
Yeah.
portal at present is looking at Indian languages.
The strange thing that I find with a lot of the Indian companies, that when they get challenged by international companies coming into India, they suddenly find the money to do it. I mean, if you look at Flipkart, example of Flipkart, Flipkart was selling so much till Amazon had not been in India. Amazon came into India, they started selling, and within, I think, 2 or 3 years, they started, putting Hindi, and I think now they are available in 4 or 5 languages. And all of a sudden, Flipkart got to the idea of doing the voice searches in Indian languages, and now they are translating in a lot of Indian, at least their app is, may not be the web app, but at least their app is getting. So I think it's also a question of putting the companies right in front of the competition.
Correct. Correct.
Because when there is competitiveness and people see that, actually results are produced by making content available to the rest of the 90% of the people who they are missing out, actually.
Correct.
And I think that one example which you mentioned, that if there is somebody who starts doing it, then the activity would start catching up with others, and they even if they will borrow money and they will do it sustainably, they have to invest in something, because otherwise,
Correct.
what's the differentiator for a lot of these companies who are, whether they are Sarovar or some other resort or whatever, they don't have any differentiator prominently in that sense. So I think there is a huge opportunity coming up in that area. But of course, the sustainability part is something which the travel industry will have to figure out. Now, going back to a related question on this is, what's your personal experience? I know you work with some of the companies, and you've helped them translate both in international, I think more in international domain. What's been your personal experience of providing translation services to the industry companies?
See, it has been a very, very nice, good experience, outstanding experience in terms of. So we have done more in European market and some in African market, because again, I mean, we have done in European languages. I'll not say that, but for European market and European languages, one good thing about the travel industry as a whole is that they really trust your partner. So which is a very encouraging. They don't question, and they believe that whatever you are providing is authentic, and it is because they are going to market that, because and the content that you are going to provide them, they are going to market that.
Correct.
So they don't question your credibility. Obviously, it depends on the company and all those things.
Yeah.
But I think they are very, very acceptable in terms of idea of languages, putting languages. One is that European companies and even African companies where their market is European are already so you don't have to sell the languages to them. So
Yeah.
they have already adapted that in
They
their
already know
system.
they have to do it.
Yeah. Similarly, we have worked with a couple of tour operators within India, and but they are again for the European languages that we have done, and Arabic. Arabic we did for some of the hotels and resorts in Kerala,
Okay.
because Kerala hotels, there is a huge market which is a Arabic market, and so they are very conscious about the Arabic language, and so we did a couple of localization for the resorts and hotels and a few travel agents for Arabic language. But I would say the industry, once they adapt that, then there is no limit in terms of volume, because you keep getting the volume, because then as they generate the content, you
Correct.
get the, so it's a cycle which starts.
Right. Right. Correct. I think we have a little bit of time, so I will just shorten my question and then hand over to Sudhinji. I think the last question that I would like to ask, and which is also useful for the members, is in terms of the opportunity in the travel domain, how would you advise our member companies how they can get more deeper into this industry to get some business? And what would be your general advice to LSP companies dealing with travel content, in terms of how can they specialize to address this industry?
Yeah, see, what is important for LSP is to be more on a consultative mode than actually on a selling mode.
Okay.
Because once you start consulting a travel company, then you becomes a partner with them. And once you become partner with them, then they start listening to you, obviously. So that is one. Second is that in terms of starting, once they start getting the customers, because everything is customer driven, then there is no limit, obviously. When we started Arabic with some of the Kerala hotels, none of the hotels were doing in Kerala in Arabic language. But we obviously we had certain clients who were more like a friend to us than a real customer. And then how the idea started, that we suggested them that we'll do some of the content or do some promotions and all those things. So it's more of a consulting mode. And once one hotel did it, obviously there is a
So
chain
can I
reaction.
convert the promotions to say including the SEO services once you do that language?
Yeah, so that has not come down to that level at
Right.
present. So it is more of a content that they generate in terms of brochure, in terms of their
Okay.
FAQs and all those things. But to certain extent, some of them have converted into the website, also converted into other languages, which is Arabic. But they have not dribbled down to SEO at present. So, but my suggestion would be to LSPs will be to do a hand holding kind of thing, because there's a lot of education that needs to be done with the travel companies. But all having said that, it is important that we show them the carrot. So it is important for us to show them the carrot of the language. So once they see that, and they see that there is a chain reaction of customer coming in, occupancy going up, ARR, which is average room rate, which is going up, then obviously there is no looking back.
Okay, great. So I think that's from my side. I had more questions, of course, but time does not permit. But so Sudhinji, I think members would have some questions. I'll hand over the mic to you, and thank you so much for your answers. And we'll like to maybe have you some other time again with more
No
questions.
problem.
1 hour is not
Problem.
enough for this industry.
No. Oh yeah, industry is big, quite true.
I absolutely agree with you, Biraj. So the last question that you asked is exactly what Ankita asked in the chat about the opportunities in the travel industry for translation projects and how to approach such opportunities. Another question that Deepak Joshi has asked is there a way to get data related to language issues foreign tourists are facing. And because this such data can help policy formation to facilitate tourists.
In my opinion, I
See,
don't think there is much data on this. So
no,
Dinji, I think,
there is no study which has been done at
yeah,
present, at least not in public domain. The study is
yeah,
not there. But I think what is important is that when we are talking about the problems in language, it depends upon we're talking about the content, written content, or we are talking about the spoken content. Because we have a lot of guides who are there,
yeah, yeah. That challenge
who
is
do
also there.
translation, and yeah, so that so there are guides and there are misguides.
Yeah, yeah.
So both are
Actually,
so
that
there.
brings me to an important point. This is an interesting question actually, because the way a lot of the foreign travel industry has changed this whole scenario is by audio visual support in multiple languages. So if you go to a
Correct.
museum or you go to a tourism site, you cannot be having 16 guides per group of person, right, talking in 16
Correct.
languages. It's just impossible. So the way to solve this is, and this is where I think we as an industry get a lot of business, and these kind of audiovisual things. So they have these devices which you issue when you buy the ticket for that particular monument or whatever it is, and they will give you a device which supports 10, 12, 15, whatever languages, and you just select the language, you put on the earphone, and when you walk down to that particular place, there will be a mark saying number 1, number 2, number 3. You press that number, and your device, and there are two types of devices. There is also a device which has a video inside it, and there are devices
Correct.
which has just audio inside it. So it will tell you about the history or that particular importance of it. And you can imagine that somebody has written that script in that language, somebody has translated it, somebody has done the voiceover for it, the synchronization, and if there is a video, then the video has been dubbed and stuff like that. So there is plenty of
Correct.
opportunity in that area. And I think, I'm not sure if there is any place in India that has that. I'm sure there would be some, but I have not seen them. I think Akshardham in Delhi has one of such things.
Yeah, even Qutub Minar also have got that, and there is so a couple of tourist locations they've got them. But I think what the question was, it was an interesting question because that may be an opportunity for Sitlop to do maybe a small study on how what are the problems that language can solve,
I think we can
maybe for the
potentially
travel
look at
industry.
even international data to generally extrapolate, maybe Common Sense
Yes,
Advisory or NIMSY or some of these guys, if they have done some research globally, maybe that will give us some kind of an indication, although it may not be accurate for the Indian scenario, because India is
context,
totally
correct.
a different country with a totally different complexity. But it would certainly have some things which could be of huge learning,
Use,
which
correct,
could be adapted.
correct, correct, correct.
So Sudhinji, I think you have a lot of experience also working with tour and travel companies. Why don't you contribute a little bit
Yeah.
to
So
that
yes.
discussion?
So so very. So I'll just share. So one of the first translation projects we did for travel industry was about I think almost 30 years back, and it was a travel agency which was working with French market. So they wanted their whole collateral, including their website, to be translated into French language. So, and I'm talking about 30 years back. So I
Oh,
think the customer I'm talking about is 96 or something, 97, right at the onset of when websites were getting created. So there's a lot of awareness among established, organized travel companies, and I'm talking about travel agent, not even a hotel industry or a airline industry or these portals which is doing massive bookings and all that. So there is a lot of opportunities in travel industry, and I absolutely agree with what Neeraj you are saying is that this opportunity only comes with educating the your travel company that you're looking at. And
mhm.
that education, I think you have shared fantastic tips today. And I think ideally, a lot of travel agents and travel companies should have been, part of this webinar because you have really shared a lot of tips for them. as a differentiator and what it actually means, most of these travel companies, I believe, for whatever reason, they don't take it very seriously. But that's like Bharat says, you're missing out on the 90% potential. You're only addressing 10% of the potential, of your business. So, like I said, there's a lot of tips that you have given us, and I'm sure the members here and the participant, the guests here, can use these tips to approach the travel companies and suggest solutions for them. So and just one more example that you just shared is that the tour escorts and tour guides, largely they have been given the task of managing the translation requirements of the
Correct.
Interpretation, I would say, more like.
Yeah. So of the tourists, but that is actually outsourcing your core functions. If you're addressing, let's say, German market, you are outsourcing your core business to a travel or a tour escort or a tour guide.
To certain extent, even the taxi drivers. To certain extent, even the taxi drivers.
Yes. So how can you give your core business of your core customers to,
and they make their own stories, by the way.
Yes,
correct.
Yes. So it's a risk that the travel industry is taking by doing all these. And of course, I don't think the travel industry itself gains a lot in terms of branding, and they lose out a lot of branding and marketing opportunities when they, rely on tour escorts. So these are tips that can easily, convince a travel company to, make their investment in travel and in translation and localization services. And they normally are surprised with the low cost of investment also. So initially for them, it looks very big, but when you actually talk to them, then they find that the investment is not that much, because it is, it's mostly like you just said, the content in travel industry is just, it kind of stays, the monument doesn't change too much. Yeah. I mean, so it's very stable content, and some minor changes might happen, dynamic content, but that's something.
And that too, they don't have to do it all at once.
Correct. So there is a lot of possibility, and I'm sure the members can really reach out to the travel industry, and this is the opportunity, because this is the time when they can prepare for the deluge.
Yes,
of the tourism industry.
It's a lull before the storm, I would say.
Correct, absolutely correct, absolutely. And this is a time when they have time to do all these work.
Preparation, yeah.
Yes. So great, Neeraj. It was wonderful having you with us, and
my pleasure.
Thank you, Biraj, for helping us with this.
My pleasure.
With this moderating this session. And thank you, all the guests, for being with us. And I'm sure you would have had something to take away from this session. And we look forward to the next session on SITLOG. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.